Hi, welcome on my channel. In this video, I'll walk you through the most practical backend developer roadmap in 2025. This guide will help you gain all needed skills in order to become backend developer. No shortcuts, no hype, just real stuff that works. Let's move on to the video. First step is programming language. This is very important and one of the most important steps in your journey, because learning programming language is thing which gives you strong fundamentals and good foundation. So if you don't know programming language fully, if you gonna not put enough effort and enough time and enough focus on programming language, your knowledge not gonna be enough in another steps. So this is very important, and choice of the programming language depends from the kind of work you want to go in, because for example Python is more into AI, machine learning, data science. For example, Java is more into web development or app mobile development. So I would highly recommend choosing a language which is widely used in commercial projects, like most popular among commercial projects, because your goal is to find a job. I assume that your goal is to find a job. So if this is your goal, I would choose the most popular language. Here you have some report about most popular programming languages. At the top there's Python, and it's there for its simplicity, also its complexity in terms of wide usage, because Python has plenty of libraries, of integrations, and Python is very good choice, and it's easy language. Like syntax of Python is very intuitive. As you see, there is also JavaScript. JavaScript is used in frontend. Also, it's used in Node.js in backend development. So it's also used in backend development, but not that widely as in frontend. So I would not look that highly on the statistics, because this report is on in general on programming languages, not only for backend programming languages. And as you see, third one is Java language. And the Java language is very solid, very good choice. Frankly, I would highly recommend that language, because I personally started with that language, and I just know that this language is very solid and gives you very good and strong fundamentals. And as you see, you have some other languages, some backend languages that are also worth looking at are C# and Go language, and Kotlin. Kotlin also work on JVM, which is Java Virtual Machine, but it's not important at this moment, just a little fun fact. Okay, so let's move on to the next step, which is databases, relational databases, SQL, structured query language. In our application, in our projects, we have to store the data somewhere. And here, relational databases appears. We have also non-relational databases, but firstly, I would highly recommend you to focus on relational databases, on SQL language, because this is harder and gives you solid foundations. And we have very important aspects there, like data integrity. Why this data integrity is there? Like how does it happen? How this integrity is kept by tools, by relational databases tools? What are transactions? How they work? Isolation. All important aspects that we software developers use on daily basis. So this is very important, and you should not skip that step or spend few days, only a couple of days of it, because this is very important and you can't learn relational databases in a couple of days. Let's move on to the third step, which is version control system. And what is version control system? This is history of all our changes, all our, by our I mean software developer. So when you code something, when you fix a bug, when you make some feature, everything is documented in that history. So you can go back to it. You can change something. You can, see why something has been implemented that way, not the other way. And thanks to that, software developers can easily manage between certain aspects. Because, for example, just to give you a little context, we don't want to have to production environment have the same version, for example, like testing environment or beta environment, because there is often a situation when for example you have to fix something and you want to push only some fix from, for example, testing environment to production environment, but you don't want to clone whole version, like you to push whole version of testing, because it's not well tested, it's not safe. So you want to only push that certain aspect, like this certain bug. So here, version control system is a solution to this problem. And you're gonna probably ask, what is the tool for this version control system? And actually, we have one king here, and it's Git. Git solves all that issues that I've just described. So Git is a tool, and the most popular platform in which you use Git, in which there are plenty of Git repositories, is GitHub. Also, there are little less popular platforms like GitLab or Bitbucket, but they are also used in commercial projects. But I would start with Git and GitHub if I were in your shoes. The fourth step is framework, and framework is a tool which solves tens of years developers' problems. Just to give you a little context, because for example, we have authorization there, we have HTTP client there, we have whole connection between database. We do not have to do repeatable problems over and over again in every application. So, for example, doing an application with framework takes, let's say, 1 month. Without framework, with only programming language, for example, 6 months, just to give you a time difference. So actually, the real truth is that without framework, you're not gonna do any project. And framework is dedicated for the programming language. There is no one framework or one tool. Every programming language has its own frameworks. So choice of framework highly depends on the programming language you learned or will learn. Here you can see the most popular frameworks for the languages. So depending on the language you will choose, in this fourth step, you would choose framework. The fifth step is when you have very good foundation and you are almost complete backend developer, you should learn another tools that are used on daily basis on software developer in software developer daily work. And these are tools like, for example, Postman, in which you test your API manually. For example, Docker, very widely used in commercial projects. For example, testing tools like JUnit in Java or PyTest in Python, or caching mechanism like caching tool like Redis. And also, I see the tendency on the market that currently some DevOps tools and skills are attractive for the companies, because we have separate job like DevOps engineer, but I see that tools like CI/CD, Jenkins, GitHub Actions, AWS, and Linux. Linux is very, very important, and you should learn Linux because most of the servers are running on Linux, because these are simple operating systems, console operating systems. And these are obviously these things which I'm saying, for example, related to DevOps are not required and not for beginner level, but this will make you 10 times more valuable and attractive in terms of potentially getting a job and being a most complete software developer. And the last step is actually when you have you gained all the skills, you know plenty of tools, you should do the project. So you should turn your idea into a real world application. And here this will be your showcase. So I would really put effort on that step, because you're gonna also learn much through through coding. Because for example, you will want to code something, and you will have to browse the web, for example, how to solve certain problem, how to do something in a framework, how to do that, and you also learn much through that step. And this is, as I said, this is your showcase. So this is very important, because thanks to that, this project can potentially land you a job. So that would be all for this video. That's the complete roadmap on real backend software development. Let me know in the comments below on which step you are currently on, and subscribe if you don't want to miss any new videos. See you in next one.